someone was addressing the issue of the Eurovision Song Contest. I'm an American. I don't have an Israeli television. I don't ingest so much media. I check the American news every now and then, and the necessary Israeli stuff. I mostly get news from firsthand sources. Thank God. Now you could do that from people who have just been eyewitnesses. You don't trust anything you get from anywhere else. So I was unfamiliar with many aspects of Israeli culture when I came here, and I've already been here straight for a good 16 years. And I was here before that. So I had to catch up on a lot of things through my wife and that which she gave to my daughter and the rest of my children. They came along. So I I had to familiarize myself with the Parpar Nechmad. I thought the Israelis just had Sesame Street and they called it Rehov Sum Sum, but apparently not. There was that's nothing compared to the homegrown kids TV shows, the classic ones they used to have. So that's where all the songs came from. There was some prolific authors of children's books and of children's songs. Dotya Ben-Dor comes to mind. And so I had to learn these songs from scratch. I thought that that which I had heard just by osmosis back in America was enough, but apparently there was so much of which I was unaware. And of course, I never heard of Eurovision because of that, because I'm American. I'm normal, just like it never interested me to see how people play metric football, which is barely considered a sport. You know, it's foreigners who babble in foreign languages consider that an actual sport. But as you know, that's the most inferior of the sports. Now, I then realized, oh yeah, I've heard about this a little bit. I think MBD stole a song that he had heard from Eurovision that became the Mashiach song. We all knew about Hallelujah by Chalav and Vash and other such songs that did win in Eurovision, became Israeli classics, became Jewish classics. So the rest of it, I think I've seen maybe something. So it's something that which I'm not familiar, totally not in that culture. So I looked into this. It turns out that once upon a time, Israel was winning in these things. I think they won two straight times with the aforementioned song. What was it again? Some sort of Am Yisrael Chai song. And those were soulful, classic religious songs. That's from the 70s. So at the time, the Jewish nation won because it was unabashedly Jewish. Those songs have Judaism all over, written all over them, and they actually became classics. The kind type of thing you should be proud of. I guess technically speaking, the Kol Yishuv thing is a problem, but besides from that, that was a good thing. And then in the 90s, apparently Israel won this contest because their representative was the freak, an alphabet person before it became an actual mitzvah. That's what happened. I remember seeing about that in a newspaper somewhere, and that was really wrong. That was an embarrassment, a real chil Hashem. I forget what year. Apparently, that perverted guy who won that contest is still around doing his thing. So that's bad for the rest of us. And a few years ago, this again came to our attention because Israel won because its representative had some sort of grotesque chicken song. You may have seen. Also, she didn't win because her song was Jewish, because her song was a classic, because her song had any meaning to it. She won because she was the biggest freak in the show. And that's also an embarrassment. And that basically should have told us that we shouldn't care too much about this. Unfortunately, it absorbs a lot of our culture. It sucks all the oxygen out of the room, as my wife would say. We shouldn't care too much. And in the wake of Israel's last victory, don't forget what they say. We're going to talk about this more. Everybody said, you know what, you can't have the contest in Jerusalem, even though the host country's capital is supposed to, sorry, the winning country's capital is supposed to host the next contest. That's bad because we don't recognize anything. We don't recognize anything having to do with Israel. Israel's right to Jerusalem that's disputed, even though in the 70s it didn't really matter. It's a real problem. We should not have anything to do with these international competitions. It's just another chance for the world to rag on us, which we're going to get into now.